What if the way you feel these days isn't just personal growth, but also a sign that you're getting close to the end of this lifetime circle of spiritual growth? A lot of people go through dozens or even hundreds of mental cycles over the course of their lives. Each one is meant to help the soul learn, grow, and solve problems that it hasn't yet solved. But eventually, and generally without warning, the soul hits the end of its most important cycle. At this point, the lessons get harder, time seems to go faster, and old patterns won't repeat, even when the mind tries to go back to comfort. It might not have been your fantasy if you had a deep change inside you and felt like you couldn't go back to how things were. It could be your better self telling you that this isn't just another moment. It marks the end of an old process, the ending of loops, and a return to the way things were originally set up. This movie talks about 7 strong signs that you are in the last part of your spiritual cycle, and why understanding them will help you understand everything you've been feeling with more clarity, peace, and purpose. Let's start. In the early stages of spiritual growth, loss often makes people worry. When a relationship ends, a job changes, or even when your views change, it can feel like the ground falls out from under you. The mind is filled with fear of failing, and fear of starting over. But something changes when you reach the end of your mental life. Stop being afraid of losing. In fact, you start to see change not as a problem, but as something that will happen naturally. Don't ask, why is this happening to me? You start to wonder, what is this getting me ready for? Change doesn't happen because people are pushed to be positive or because they understand things better. It comes from a very deep spiritual memory. Somewhere in your soul, you know that all loss is really just making room. Every ending makes room for the next one. And the rate of these changes often speeds up in the last wave. Homes, relationships, and even identities that have been held for a long time can fall apart quickly. What other people see as uncertainty, you see as harmony. At this point, you're not relying on outside results to prove your point. You know that holding on to things that are going will only make things worse. Letting go is a practice of trusting that you will not give up on your path, but instead work with its knowledge. You start making choices based on unity instead of safety, even if you don't know what will happen. One of the strongest signs that we have reached the end of the spiritual circle is this. Your fear of losing something changes into a ready to grow. What do you write in the morning? Moving away. You respect it and let it go with thanks. When you were younger and more spiritual, synchronicities seemed like fun, almost magical signs from the world. A repeated string of numbers. A chance meeting. The right song lyrics at the right time. These patterns made you feel like you were getting special signs from reality that you were on the right track. Things change a lot as you start your last spiritual cycle, though. No longer are coincidences a surprise. They get used to it. They're more than that. They become rules. Your relationship with the real world changes. No longer do you think of accidents as cute encouragement. You see them as ways to talk. You no longer feel wonder when certain words, phrases, or patterns keep showing up in your life. Instead, you feel a pull to act. No longer are the signs from the world just meant to make you feel better. It's telling you to make changes that are in line with your higher schedule, which can be quick or painful. This is because there is a lot less space between the aware mind and the soul in the last stage. The outside world starts to reflect your mental state more quickly than ever. When you listen, the synchronicities get stronger when you fight. It's easy to open doors. You may notice that the world seems to be reacting to every choice you make. It's almost like your life has turned into a talk instead of a mystery. This isn't just happening to prove a point. Because you don't need lessons that go in a straight line. This is happening off of your own and the group mind. You're working directly with a higher power. This is why people in the last stage of their spiritual journey often experience strange coincidences, perfect chances, and even the quick removal of things that don't serve them anymore. Reality bends not because you are controlling it, but because your energy and actions are now in full conversation with it. At this point, coincidence turns into a plan. It's not enough to just see signs. You do what they say. One of the most difficult emotional changes that comes with the end of the spiritual cycle is a big change in how you deal with other people's pain in earlier stages. A lot of emotionally aware people feel like they need to help, heal, or fix everyone else. It makes sense. As your awareness grows, you can feel other people's feelings more deeply. It feels like the pain is personal. The problems make me want to do something. You may have spent years giving advice, taking on feelings, or even putting your own health at risk to help family, friends, or even strangers. But something happens as you get closer to your last cycle. Deep sympathy stays, but the need to save goes away. You start to understand that not everyone is ready to get better. Even if they say they do, not everyone wants truth. You also know that trying to step in often gets in the way of other people learning what they are supposed to learn. Urgency is replaced by wisdom. You offer help without getting attached. You listen without being in charge. You look around without first taking in. This distance can feel like coldness or lack of interest. You might ask yourself, am I going numb? Do I no longer care about people? In reality, though, this is not separation. It means mental growth. In this case, you respect free will, the way that time and their souls agree on. And something strong takes place because of it. You can put your energy to work where it will do the most good. Stop putting into problems that never end. People who aren't just looking for comfort start coming to you in the form of relationships, business, or groups. This change is a big step forward. You go from being an emotional saver to an active leader. You stop being a life raft and become a star. You probably learned ways to deal with mental overload, doubt, or spiritual fatigue in the early stages of your growth. Some are good for you, like writing in a book, working out, or meditating. Others may have been distractions that were passed off as ways to get more work done, like using social media too much, trying to please other people, or looking for approval from others. These tools helped you get through tough times of change. They made me feel good and gave me temporary security. They worked for a while. But as you enter the last mental circle, something strange happens. Using the old plan do not work. Things that used to make you feel better start to feel heavy, dull, or even harmful. Distractions stop being fun. It becomes hard to escape. Some spiritual routines that helped you in the past may now feel empty or forced. You can't get around pain anymore. You can't think your way out of problems or numb yourself to feel calm for a short time. At first, this can feel strange. You might wonder if you're not as disciplined or motivated as you used to be. But the truth is that your soul wants you to connect with it more directly. For the last turn, you have to be fully present, fully honest, and fully embodied. Your best self will no longer put up with delay tactics. You should deal with your feelings if they come up. You should break any patterns that come up. If a chance comes up, you should take it, not keep thinking about it. This change is not a punishment. It's getting ready. You're being asked to take on more psychic power. Don't practice or put things off any longer. No lies, just deep, honest harmony. Over time, you realize that what felt like losing ways to deal with things was really giving you more power. How? That doesn't need outside supports in the early stages of spiritual growth. Relationships that aren't good for you anymore often stay around. You might keep trying to change, give in, or describe your changes to other people. You might hope that they will change with you. You might even put up with misalignment because of family ties, experience, or the fear of being alone. It makes sense, though. It is never easy to end a relationship. But as you move into your last spiritual cycle, the energy of connections that aren't connected with your purpose becomes unbearable. It's not that you're judging other people. It's just that your frequency can't handle lying, either to yourself or to other people. What was okay before now feels too heavy. Talks become less deep. Interactions bring down instead of raising up. And the active threads start to come apart without you having to do much. People lose friends. Family ties get weaker. Relationships that aren't based on growth together often end quickly at first. This might make you feel unstable or even like you've lost something. But quickly you start to see a trend. Some people leave. As new connected souls come into the world, don't let old ties stop you from growing. And there's more stress when you try to fight these changes. You stop fighting it in the end. Don't hold on anymore. At this point in your growth, you start to believe that the people who stay or come are the ones who can walk with you. They don't wear you down. They make you bigger. Conversations feel like they go both ways and are based on realness. This is not being cold. This is the clarity of energy. In your last cycle, you're not keeping relationships going out of duty. Making links that show who you are now, not who you were in earlier mental stages, is what it's all about. It often felt like complexity was needed. You look for answers in a huge number of books, classes, methods, and teachers. You learn about various religions, treatment methods, and traditions. Each new level of difficulty felt like growth, and in a lot of ways it taught you new things, made you more aware, and helped you break free from old restrictions. But as you move into your last mental cycle, your desire for more depth starts to fade. It's not that you stop growing. It's that your soul knows that real knowledge is easy to find. You get a strong, hard-to-explain urge to make everything easier. Your surroundings, your responsibilities, your friends, even your spiritual practices. What interested you before now seems crowded. You want to be alone, get things done quickly, and talk less. You want to listen more. You want to experience more. At first, this change might seem hard to understand. You might be wondering if you're losing interest in learning or if you're losing your drive. But the truth is that this is a sign of unity that you no longer need because you're already there. Your aura now cares more about quality than number. You focus on using what you already know instead of coming up with new ideas. You know that mastery doesn't mean knowing everything. It's about always living your truth, even in the tiny things you do. You may find that you're getting rid of junk in your home, saying no to responsibilities that aren't necessary, or streamlining your daily tasks. These aren't just decisions about how to live. These choices are full of energy. In this last stage, simplicity is the key to keeping the frequency high because less really does become more. The things that are left in your life have meaning, purpose, and harmony, and the things that are not left will simply fall away. Not with force, but with sound waves. As was already said, spiritual progress often feels particular. It works on healing, getting to know yourself, and making your life better. You have to do that before you can make a difference in the world. You need to get to know yourself well first. Your attention grows as you move into your last cycle, though. Your growth is no longer just for you. You can feel it. It's meant for everyone. You start to feel a deep connection to bigger trends, like changes in society, the energy around the world, and even the general mood of people. You're more affected by what's going on in the world, not out of fear, but because you know that your energy is part of the whole. This can make you feel both strong and responsible. You know that even your own recovery has an effect on others, and that what you say, do, and how you react affects not only the people around you, but also the whole field of humanity's energy. In new ways, your gut gets stronger. You might get information about world shifts, changes in the environment, or social patterns before they become known. You feel called to help not only people, but also groups, communities, or causes that are in line with greater truth. You know your limits, though. You don't need to save the world by yourself anymore. Instead, you recognize your special part in a bigger trend. Your energy helps people who are waking feel more stable and build a link between the old and the new. As I move from I to we, I'm not losing who I am. It's the growth of personality. Even though you're still yourself, you're now a part of something much bigger. You're not crazy if these signs made you feel like they were not just interesting ideas, but also facts you've been knowing. It felt like the last few steps of a trip that had been going on for a long time. You aren't just getting better. You are coming to an end, fulfilling soul contracts, ending karma loops, and going back to the original alignment you had before the wall made you forget about it. That's why the changes are so strong. Why do the old ways not work anymore? Why some habits and relationships have broken down so quickly? Why you can't stand people who aren't honest anymore? It's not that you changed too quickly. That's because you finally hit the point where change turns into unity. You're not the only one. At this time, many souls are finishing their last rounds, not as a way to escape, but as a way to get ready to serve at higher levels, live more clearly, and lead others, without having to hold the room, without saving them, to be there, without any ties. We'll talk about the rare signs that your soul's contracts are ending and how to deal with the uncertainty and growth that come with spiritual completion in the next video. If this message hit home for you, please make sure to join to the Bloom. This is more than just information. It's proof that your higher self is getting you ready for the next part of your trip. It is changing,